Wanted to freestyle this video and talk about a breakthrough I had in therapy today that I'm actually pretty excited to share. One thing I didn't realize I was doing, I knew I was doing it, but I didn't realize the damage it was doing to my emotional development, which was stunning my growth in all other areas. Was creating a fantasy land for everyone. For example, my grandpa died when I was 12. I'm 36. My Uncle Jake died over 8 years ago. I don't remember exactly when because I never really processed these deaths. I'd have to ask people when they actually died because that's how much I didn't accept their death. Even though I went to their funerals, I saw them buried or cremated. Well, I didn't see him get my grandpa get cremated, but you know what I mean. And my grandma died over 8 years ago. I never accepted their death. I created this fantasy place where I go when there's all this noise. And I created this world where it's a perfect world, where everything that I'm working to accomplish has already been accomplished. No one's hungry. No one's getting evicted. No one's unwanted. No one is sitting in the dark, wondering where they went wrong. No one is in pain every single day. And how I wanted my family to really be, I went there. It started out healthy, but then it became very unhealthy because I didn't let or grieve my grandparents or my uncle's death because I see them. I just go in my head and we talk. I hear their voices. And something had happened. I found out a couple months ago that my grandparents' house that I would have loved to live in got into the hands of somebody I feel did not deserve to have this piece of land because of who she is as a person. She's my cousin. I recently learned that she took the money from my uncle Brad, who got the house after my grandma died. She got it after my Uncle Brad died by default, and she took off with the money from the estate, did not pay for the funeral, sold the house, sold everything, and didn't say a word. I didn't get to say goodbye. I didn't get to do one last walkthrough, even though me and her aren't talking. I would never do. She did that out of spite. She did it to hurt. She knew what she was doing. And just so she knows, because I'm sure she's going to be watching this at some point, you cannot come back from that. And she went around telling everybody in the neighborhood all these horrible stories, false stories about me and my mom, and just making us out to be some, I don't know. And I don't care because I know it's not the truth, because she lives in a very fucked up reality where she creates what she wants to justify her sick behaviors, and it's actually pretty pathetic. And she didn't hurt anybody. She just made sure that she could never, ever, ever, ever walk in my life ever again. She's done some really fucked up things. Like, she accused me of stealing once, and my car had to go in her name because I just started a job and I had no credit. I was going to be paying for the car. She thought I stole money. She didn't believe that I didn't steal money from her. So she kicked me out and reported the car stolen, said I stole it, tried to have me locked up for it, laughed, went there with the cops to pick up my car, laughed and thought it was the funniest thing that they're towing my car away. And I had to talk to the cops and tell them what really happened, because she was going to have me thrown in jail. That is how twisted this chick is. And I just kept coming back in her life because I wanted to help her protect her kids from her sick ways. Because if you don't do what she wants, when you want, how she wants, the second she wants it, she will make your life a living hell. When my grandma got sick, everybody besides me and my mom stepped away. Nobody wanted to be there for my grandma, so we did. We were there up until her last breath. And, and so, like I said, I didn't grieve my grandparents until today. And my Uncle Jake, I didn't actually accept that they were dead until today. When I was talking to I was telling my counselor about what I had learned and how I thought I was so enraged at my cousin, but in reality, even though she did what she did and I didn't get to say goodbye, all the memories, the love that I did. I mean, I have some guilt from my grandma because I feel like she favored my oldest brother, who is a demented human demon. So I was telling my counselor, I said, I think I know why I haven't been able to actually grieve and let go, is because I create this fantasy world where I tell myself each day that they're just on trips and they're coming home today. And when they don't come home, I just say, oh, they're going to come home tomorrow. And then I'll go in my head and I see them. I hear them. We relive times together. My grandpa, the day he died, actually, I still don't think I can process this completely. I'm trying to. I was supposed to stay the night over his house, but I wanted to stay where I wanted to stay home because I wanted to swim the next day. And I remember I was swimming and my dad comes out on the porch and I just knew what he was gonna say. My grandpa was dead. He had a heart attack and laid there in his garden. He fell over in his garden and he laid there until my grandma found him. I still blame myself, and I have punished myself and not allowed myself to really be happy or free, because I truly believed and convinced myself at 12 that it was my fault, that I should have been there. I could have called 911. Put my needs before someone else's, and I have spent the rest of my life doing that to make sure the last time I see somebody isn't because I didn't do something. And I created this fantasy world where I see them. My grandpa's still alive. I don't have to watch my Uncle Jake die. I don't have to watch my grandma take her last breath. You know, And I just want to share this raw moment with everybody, because today, when I was processing everything, my therapist is really good. She always tells me, whatever comes up, see where it takes you. Don't ever be afraid of it. So when I was processing my grandpa today, the first thing that came up was happy memories, his laugh. And then we tap back in, we see what comes up. The second time, when I went under, the image of him laying face down in his garden popped up. It was like frozen in my mind. And then tears are just coming out my face, and it came back too, and we talked about it. And then I went back under a third time, and the third time is when where his body was. His body wasn't there. It was just, there was new flowers planted in place. And it made me realize that. And his voice was there. His voice in my head was telling me that he's okay. Sorry. That he's okay. It's okay. I can move on. I can let it go. And these flowers were so beautiful. And it reminded me and showed me that means that it's okay to let go, to create space for what's to bloom there. And that if you hold on to the anger or your guilt, you stunt that blooming. So do your best to process life as it happens. Do not be like me and ignore and carry around massive amounts of guilt, because you cannot save everybody or everything. I got this from a show, actually. It helped Reacher, a mom in the show, told her son, you cannot solve all of the world's problems. Solving some is enough. And I was like, wow, I felt like she was speaking to me. And that really helped me, like I said. And therapy today made a great breakthrough. I can let my fantasy world go, because it's not all a fantasy. I can create that reality of that by speaking out what I'm talking about and just allowing this raw emotion and these raw words to come out as they're coming out. Because if I can save one person, I mean it, I'm successful. And I just want to take the time to say that my 9 subscribers, or whoever takes the time to watch and listen to me, there's so much love that I have for you that you just don't even know. And if there is anyone out there that feels like there is no love, I'm right here. And I feel like I have way too much empathy and way too much love. And I used to wish it away. But I love that my being forces me to feel things, and that when I start to become a glacier, I'm going to feel it eventually, and that I'm learning to let things go in my fantasy land. I'm not sure if it'll dissolve itself, but I've got to learn to let that fantasy land go, because if I don't, I've lost so much time in that fantasy world that I have not been present like I should be. And I didn't even realize that till today. And I've done all this work, all this mind work. And so once again, doesn't matter how much work you do, how much you think you know, or where you should be, or at what age, you are still learning. As long as you're learning, you will always figure out what you need to know. Don't forsake it. And once again, love does not leave us. We leave. We abandon love. I'm out. Good night.